question over here.
It's more on the culture of the self. We started out with the Greek and the Christian ideas of people looking at themselves and finding ways of taking care of themselves. And then towards the end of the lecture, I'm really not too clear on this, you said that there might now be new technologies and different ways in which people could take care of themselves now. What I was interested in, and this kind of relates to the idea of the authoritarian who would provide new ways, do you think perhaps that this culture of the self is and has always been going on, and we're just finding new ways of taking care of ourselves? Or perhaps maybe we're losing some of that capability of looking at ourselves, or even, as some people say, especially in the Bay Area, that we look too much at ourselves. It's kind of unclear, and that seems to me kind of a value judgment. I don't know if you were meaning that at all.
Yeah. Well, I think that what is the most striking in the Greco-Roman culture is the fact that they have something which seems to be a real autonomous culture of the self. When I say autonomous, I don't mean that it has no relation, social relation, political, cultural relation with anything else, but that people, at least some of them, of course, in the upper classes, people decided, if they want, to take care of themselves, as for instance, some people now can decide to cultivate themselves, visit painting exhibitions, and so on and so on. You see, it was not at all a question of authoritarian obligation. They were not obliged to do it. But it was something which was proposed to them as something important, something valuable, and something which would be able, which would give them the capacity of attaining a better life, a more beautiful life, a new type of existence, and so on and so on. So you see, it was a question of personal choice first. The second thing was that this culture of the self was not at all related to religion. When I say not at all, it's much too schematical. Of course, there were relations, and the role of Pythagoras is very important in all this field. And as you know, Pythagoras was both a kind of religion and philosophy, or it was a mixture of philosophy and religion. But, for instance, for people like Seneca, even if during his youth Seneca had some links with Pythagoreans, for Seneca, it was not at all for religious reasons that he did what he has done. Or Plutarch was very religious in the sense that he practices some traditional rituals. Plutarch, when he took care of himself, it was for personal reasons. There were no, the techniques of the self were not embedded in religious or political or even educational institutions. Well, that's what I mean by autonomous. That's the second point. Those practices of the self were independent of pedagogical, religious, social institutions. Third thing is that this culture of the self had its own literature, its own receipts. You can say that. And, for instance, people wrote letters to one another, giving good receipts, good techniques for taking care of the selves. They wrote treatises. For instance, when Plutarch has written his book Peri Eutymias, I don't know the translation in English, La Tranquillité d'âme. Tranquility also. But in this treatise, he sends this treatise to his friend Fontanus, who was a Roman senator, Roman political figure, rather important. And he says to Fontanus, well, I know that you need just now the treatise, some considerations about Euthymius. Nobody knows, or at least I don't know, what was the personal reasons why Fontanus needed this advice, but he retracted. He said, I know that you are in a hurry and that you are in an emergency state and you need some considerations about Euthymia, but I have no time to write to you a special treatise. So I'll send you my personal notes about Euthymius, because he had a notebook where he has written some advice, some considerations, some quotations, some examples about Euthymia, and it is those personal notes, his personal notebook, that he is supposed to send to Fontanus. So you see, it is a small world of techniques, notions, practice, and so on, and they circulated from one another, and that's what I mean by this autonomous existence of culture of the self. But I do not remember the question. I don't know if what I've just said was fit as an answer to your question.
What I guess I'm trying to get out of you is something, some sort of comment, say, using this word technology. I know that can mean different things, but say perhaps technology, a lot of people say it does a lot of good and it permits people to do a lot of things, more things now than have ever been done before. But then there's other people that say yes, and then there's all of the kids that sit in front of the TV set and never know what it is to think for themselves.
Yes, what I have said at the end of the lecture, it was much too brief. It was that this autonomous culture of the self disappeared in a way after the development of Christianity and through the development of Christianity, since the formation of the self and the way people had to take care of themselves then became embedded in religious, social, and educational institution. For instance, the Christian confession is from this point of view very interesting, since in a way to confess, that means to examine yourself, to remember your deeds, your sins, to tell them to a priest, to make penance, all that is a way to have relationship to yourself, of course. But as you see, this technique became first necessary, obligatory for people. You had to do that every year at least, and every month, and every week, and if you were a monk, you had to do that every day. So, well, first. Secondly, you had to do that with somebody who was imposed to you as a director, no choice. In the decree of 1215, where confession became obligatory in Christianity, you had to confess to the priest of your village, of your parish, of your parish, and nobody else. Third, you have to answer to a set of questions which were always the same. And most of the time, it is the priest who asks the question. Did you do that? Did you do that? Did you do that? And he imposed on you the penance. So you see that it is a way of taking care of yourself. It is a way for you to let somebody take care of yourself. You could say the same about the educational system, where the problem of the constitution of the self by educational system is something very important. So there is a care of the self, but it has not this form of autonomous culture you could find in the Greco-Roman society.
What if we can go into another?
Very quick.
Okay.
In the discussion section, I think last time I think you said it, where the individual has the choice, is able to make the choice.
The choice.
To do one or the other, to either go by themselves or go to the church. To be able to cultivate himself by himself, or to say go to the church and cultivate himself.
I have said that?
In the discussion section last week.
Well, but even in a discussion, c'est une sottise. Et c'est ma faute. Excuse me. I'm sure I have said that because you tell me that I have said it, but I was wrong.